We are going to read the poem The Feed by Ahmed Nadeem Qasmi. We will look at the introduction of the poem and our poet. Ahmed Nadeem Qasmi, he was born in November 1916 and he died in July 2006. He was a Pakistani poet and he has written many poems in English and in Urdu. He was also a journalist, a literary critic and a dramatist. And of course, he was a short story author. He started writing poems in late 30s. He wrote many books on different topics such as poetry, fiction, criticism, journalism and art, and he is considered a major figure of Urdu literature. Ahmed Nadeem Qasmi, as he is a legendary Pakistani poet of English and Urdu, his poems, they are very famous for his appeal to the common man and his ability to humanize many pastoral situations. For example, in this poem, The Feed, he has depicted the problem of all human mothers in the form of the problem of a sparrow mother. The Feed is one of the most impressive poems composed by Qasmi. This is a simple and beautiful poem, and the poem depicts the universal motherly love for all the young ones. This poem is a representation of love and affection of mother for her young ones in a very simple and straight way. The poet discusses the passions of a mother for her children. A mother, she derives a lot of pleasure in feeding her children, in looking after them, in caring for them, and in training them to become better human beings. This poem, it is a translation from Urdu to English, and it is addressing the problem of a mother bird who has just one grain of food, and she has to decide to whom she will give this grain. Which of the young sparrows will receive the grain? What is going to be the mother's decision? We do not know of this. What is the end? Because Qasmi leaves this to our imagination. The reader must decide it for himself. The mother bird is a representation of the predicament faced by the mothers all over the world, and it is an indicator of a social problem faced by mothers all over the world, that is the lack of resources and how to divide these resources amongst their children. We are going to look at the poem The Feed by Ahmed Nadeem Qasmi. We are going to touch the first 5 lines, their word meanings and its explanation. Millet is a small grain of cereal from head to toe, from head to bottom. To feed is to give food. Over here, a small bird, a sparrow, it is shown holding a grain of millet in its beak for feeding the newly born young ones. These birds, the young birds, they do not have feathers to fly. They are extremely hungry and they are making a lot of noise as they are asking for food. They are totally dependent upon their mother as they cannot fly. The poet has symbolically told us that children are helpless and they are depending upon their parents, particularly mother, so that their needs are fulfilled. The children, they raise their demand in a loud voice again and again. When this bird, it comes to the nest with just one grain of millet, the problem starts here. who should be first fed with it? The poet says that the young ones are so small that they cannot understand that one grain is to be shared amongst all of them. Their behavior is simple, but it is quite natural. The scene that is depicted in the poem is very natural, but it is also very interesting. The poet has presented a routine function of feeding the young ones in the animal world. The scene of a mother sparrow feeding her young ones is a bewitching one, and love of a mother, be it human, be it from the animal world or from the bird's world, it is the same. Even a human mother faces the same kind of dilemma when she has to feed her young ones. As our holy prophet, Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, your heaven lies under the feet of your mother, because many a times a mother gives her own food to her young ones. She remains hungry but feeds her young ones. Now we are going to look at the rest of the lines from 6 to 10 of the poem The Feed by Ahmed Nadeem Qasmi. We are going to look at the words and meanings and then the explanation of the poem. Conjoining means joining together. Solace is to console. Fishing is an opening. Now, when the mother sparrow returns to the nest with the grainets in her beak, she has to face the problem that to whom she should feed first, as she has only one grain in her beak. She is thinking whom she should feed first. She is thinking whom she should console. She has taught them how to cry, how to ask for food, how to walk, and now she is trying to teach them how to tear this tiny grain of millet and share it with one another. It's in the same way a human mother teaches a human child the lesson of sharing. All these chicks, they are joining their beaks and they are crying with hunger. They are giving a very tough time to their mother to decide, as she has only one grain. Her love for each child is equal. This is her dilemma. Now the poet over here creates a resemblance between the tearing of grain and the fissuring of an atom or the tearing of an atom. Both of them are tiny in size. The breaking of grain might provide some kind of food to those chicks, but the breaking of an atom, it can be constructive, but it can be destructive. Now from here, the poem takes a turn, and the poet touches the problems caused by the breaking of an atom. The humanity has suffered a lot because of the misuse of this knowledge. This knowledge has made many men cry and weep. The splitting of an atom, it must be used for the welfare and betterment of humanity instead of annihilating them. Now, new issues and new ideas are touched in this section of the poem. Who is the you who learned to get attention by crying and wailing? Is it a human child or is it a grown-up human being? Whom is he asking to fissure the atom or the grain? Is he asking to divide the food equally among the humanity? Or the benefits of splitting of an atom should be divided equally? How will this problem be fixed? And is the you the giver or the taker? Now this world is full of hunger and poverty but there are no solutions. Can we split an atom to exterminate this problem? Unfortunately, needy and poor people in our society, they are all the time facing this question that how do we divide the food so that each of the children, they get some portion to eat. Now, the tale of the poem, The Feed, from lines 11 to 15. In this part again, we are going to look at the words and meanings and the explanation. Wail is to weep, splitting is tearing or breaking, set foot on life, start walking or getting into the practical life. Now this poem, it is divided into two distinct parts. The mother's dilemma and the breaking apart of the grain. In the first half of the poem, there is the presentation of the problem. Then the poet is talking about the solution to this problem. The poet is explaining how this dilemma is solved. The mother divides that little piece of millet and feed all the children together. The mother sparrow also is observing them, and she is teaching them how to tear the grain and share it with the others. Now it is the responsibility of a mother to train her children for the practical life, and Mother Sparrow is shown doing this very successfully. The poet is paying tribute to a mother's great love for her children. Mothers are the pivot on which the family spins. Mothers are the pivot on which the world spins. This is a quote by Pam Brown. Obviously, the mother's love increases her conflict, yet this love story of a mother with her children, it is marred by a lack of solution to certain problems. And this lack of solution is quite painful for both the mother and the little ones. Now we have to look at this poem from another angle. We have to see whether this is just a story of a bird or it is a cautionary tale of every real human problem, that human beings, they are at a dilemma in every field of life. How will they be able to solve their problem, being compassionate and being helpful to others? This is the human dilemma.